Hey everybody, what's going on? It's Matthew from Post Gaming here, and we are starting a new series that I wanted to just, start something different other than just, something weird and, not really weird, just nonsensical game stuff. I wanted to get into software development a little bit, software development courses. And we're going to start with C++, actually. And, the way this course is going to work is I'm going to present the lessons, lectures, whatever we want to call them, and then following that I will give you some homework or something of that measure? I don't know. A challenge, maybe, as appropriate. I don't know. But anyways, yeah, I'm going to start with C++, which is a language you may or may not have heard of, may or may not have heard of. It's very popular in all kinds of software development, and I just wanted to show it to you and give you guys a chance to learn a new skill. How about that? So let's get into it right here, and let's start off by showing you the structure of a standard C++ program. Alright, so you're going to start off with a pound sign and then an include, and then IO stream. Now what this line does is it takes another file, which is stored in C++'s standard library of files and such things, and allows you to access them. Which will come in handy in a second. I'll have to explain that. It's going to take some getting to, guys. You gotta wait a second. It's going to take some getting to explain the whole IO stream thing. So now we'll start off by declaring an int main. Now, what does this line mean? And before I can completely explain why we do this, I have to get to this. So, int main. Int is a data type that represents integers. So this function, this is a function, which is, I'll get into that later. I'm sorry. C++ programming in general is just like it's so all over the place that there's no real way to start there's no really good start location that leads into everything else, and you sort of have to explain things later. It's jumbled so bad. Just know that this is a function and it has to return 0, which C++ does not require, actually, but if this were C, if we're writing this in a C sort of format, we would return 0 all the time, because that's what you do, because it has to, this is a function, and for right now, just remember this is a function's return type. It's also a data type. It just means integer. A whole number between 0 and it's a negative or positive whole number. Just remember that. Jeez. Okay, man. God, I'm just freaking myself out. So, what we do here is we have int main. Let's start off by explaining why the hell we have this. Let's get to that. I didn't need to click that. Why do we have that? So let's type in standard cout, and that's the STD stands for standard. So standard cout, and then type hello world. This line is way overused in programming tutorials. And then put a semicolon. Semicolons are like periods for programming. They indicate the end of a statement. So whatever you want to say, you always put a semicolon at the end of it. There's no exclamation mark like "Hello world." This line is way overused in programming tutorials, or something like that. Something weird like that. So this is why we have this. It allows us to use this function right here, standard cout. So if we build this, which is compiling, if you don't have like Visual Studio or something like that, you can Just get a text editor and get min-GW or something like that for your use command line and stuff like that. It's kind of a pain in the ass though. Wouldn't recommend it. So as you saw there, a little window popped up and said some stuff. You might have caught that or maybe not. But we didn't get to see it because it closed. So we needed to fix that. So we're going to declare a character, which is a single letter. But in this case, we don't want to define anything yet. So there's a character A. We don't want to define anything yet, and here's why. It's just initialized it. We know that this basically is bringing the character A into existence. The character A is born. So cin, which is standard input. So it's the computer will now ask. Actually, yeah, I forgot the standard. It will now ask. Oh my god. It will now ask for your input, the user's input. It'll stop and ask for the user's input, and it will show it. It will show this to us, which is our real. It's not actually trying to do this. It's not trying to show you what this whole line actually says when you do this right here. It's not trying to do that. It's just waiting for you to give input. Yeah, like that. Now we can replace this. I showed you this the hard way. This is sort of the hard way to do it. It's not really that hard in the first place, but it's basically the hard way of doing this. There's an easier way to do this, which requires functions, and we'll look at the functions later. And I want to do this. I want to do this in sort of a semi orderly fashion. So I want to show everything in order, and to attempt to do that. So yeah. Let's get rid of these, shall we? These standard, it's sort of like long, you know, a little bit, just a little bit. It's just a little bit long to write. The standard and then the colon is sort of obnoxious. So let's instead write using namespace standard. Using namespace is a command that indicates you want to replace sort of the beginning of it. You want to imply that when you use certain functions from a certain library, that it's implied that you're calling from the standard library. Like, see the highlighting text makes it really easy to understand. So standard. It's going to, if I get rid of this, much faster to explain it like this. It will still run. Let's type that G. It will still run. Why is that? Because it's implied that there is a standard in front of here because of this line right here. It is implied that it must be right there. Alright, so I think I've explained most of that. How about we prove that if you do not have this line, actually start here, get rid of that, and type in standard. Again, we've already proved that you can do that this time. Hold on, standard. And now let's build. We get a build error, a bunch of build errors for some reason. I don't know why it gives you that many, but yeah. So as you can see, if we have it, we haven't included stream. That's why it doesn't work. That's why that does not work. So build. Now it works. Include IOStream. Now fix that problem we had. If we put this in front of it and then we add the if we add the include IOStream, it will now work because we didn't have the library in there technically. So now let's try getting rid of this and building it. Oh, doesn't work. Well, standard. There we go. Build. And there you go, it runs. It finally ran. Okay, so yeah, I think we get it at this point. You need both these things, so you can just write it like this and stuff like that, and now it works. What did I just do there? I have no goddamn clue. Okay. Oh, I think I know what I did. Okay. Oh my god, okay. This is ridiculous. How did I mess this up? Okay. Control C. V. Back this up. Wow, that was really dumb. Okay. Fixed that, but that was weird. Okay. So, we have that. That's great. So, let's start off by getting rid of this. We don't need this anymore. We're actually going to move on to something else. We're going to move on to variables. So I think today's episode is just going to be standard input and output and variables. So we've already seen the output, which is the cout, and the input, where it gathers input from the user. So you know how to do that. And let's move on to variables. And I've already explained the character, and I need to explain integers, floats, and doubles, as I think they'll cover most of the basic data types for now. Alright, so we still want these two here because we want to pause the system. So let's declare an integer let's declare 3, A, B, and C. What we can do is assign these variables to a whole number. Remember, it has to be a whole number. Positive or negative, it doesn't really matter. B equals 5 and C equals A plus B. Then what we can do is cout A, B, C. And this just outputs them one after the other. After you put another output symbol there, it'll do the other and then the other. Build it. Okay, wait, what did I do? Oh, it's because God. Wow. Need to have a different variable for that character. And it'll build, and it says 555. But that's weird. Wait a minute, that doesn't make any sense. 555. Oh, C equals A. I didn't type that right. I just realized, like, wait a minute, that doesn't make any sense. C equals A plus B. Here we go. Build that. No, build that. Run it, and then it becomes 10, 5, and then 15. Okay, close that out. So you see, as the problem is kind of jumbled to read it like that, so let's add some spaces. Some spaces real quick. Some sweet spaces. Build it. Run it. 10, 5, and 15. Much clearer now. Okay, so now, that's ints covered, sort of. One quirk of integers that you need to understand is when I do this, divide that. Let's change this to 7. Build this. 10, 7, and then 1. This is A, this is B, and this is C. There's a problem here. There's a big, gaping problem here, and that is the fact that 10 divided by 7 does not equal 1. The problem being that when an integer divides two numbers that are whole numbers, which is always, I say that wrong, but it will cut off the decimal. It will just eradicate it. This is normally like 1.42875 or something like that. But it's 1 now because it just cut off the decimal, because that's how integer stuff works. It only goes in for how many. It only does it for how many times the number goes into that number, which is technically one time. 7 only goes into 10 one whole one time. So there you go, and that's why that happens. What happens if we change this into a float, which is basically what allows you to do decimal operations? So this is a float. Let's make this 10.0. Well, actually, let's move on to doubles later. Doubles sort of do a similar thing, but let's see what this does. It should work out pretty okay. And you get 10.7 and 1.42857. Yeah, so you can actually do decimal arithmetic, stuff like that. And sort of, yeah, you can use floats for that. And now that begs the question: why is there two sort of different data types for numbers? Why don't you just have one and encapsulate all those things? Well, it's for different, memory management. Is a reason. It was basically the only reason. It's for it's for memory management, so you don't have to so you don't have to do more than you have to. Like, decimal arithmetic actually puts a lot more strain on the processor than you actually think it does. Dividing and adding whole numbers is much simpler. So, in order to use up less memory, as elegantly as I can put it, in order to do that, we cut that down by separating them and only using as much as we have to. So if I only want to add, if all I wanted to do was add these two numbers, it would use less memory if I can store it in a different way. Which is it's a sort of a kind of a difficult concept to explain. It's just memory management, being more efficient, stuff like that. 10, 7, 17, yeah. Much simpler to do, actually. It deals with how binary works. It's decimal arithmetic is it's just harder on the processor. Just trust me. I guess that about wraps it up. If you are looking at this tutorial for looking like a different perspective or something like that, and you've already taken C++, or you've already done anything of the sort, please tell me if I've done anything wrong, or if I've missed anything, or should I cover if I haven't covered everything in the basic tutorial for variables and input and output, stuff like that. But yeah, other than that, I think that about wraps it up. Thank you guys for watching, and I will be posting your homework. Actually, that's right. I'm not sure if there'll be a homework. Let's see. I think this is actually on the spot here, because I was thinking I wouldn't actually do a homework assignment for this first video, because I'm not sure if I want to do that for the first week, because I'm not sure what would be difficult enough to do. Here's a challenge. See what happens when you divide a float by an integer. That's your homework, and this is kind of a basic challenge slash homework thing, and because there's not really much meat here to really give you a challenge or really give you free reign to do stuff with. It's really not that difficult. But yeah, see what happens when you divide a float by an integer, and then we'll come back to that, and that will wrap up our lesson on. I'll explain that in that video, and then that'll wrap up our lesson on input and output and variables. So yeah, see you guys next time. This has been Matthew from Pills of Gaming, starting off with a new series. Thank you guys for watching.